It's Wednesday, the 20th of November, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's go. Story number 1, the local share market hit a new record high yesterday, climbing above 8,400 points for the first time ever, meaning the market is up 11% this year.
It peaked at 8,446 points before falling sharply in literally the final few minutes of trading to close up nearly 1% at 83.74 points. The range of stocks trading out on near record highs is broad. Aristocrat Leisure, Brambles, Commonwealth Bank, Computershare, Goodman Group, Hub24, JB Hi-Fi, Pro Medicus, Qantas, REA, WiseTech Global, Xero. Plenty of them, Michael, plenty of them. A bunch of other tech stocks are also near highs. That's been the best performing sector, the tech sector. It's up about 44% this year. The biggest influence this year, though, has been the banks index. They make up, or the financial sector makes up about 31% of the market. That index is up 36% this year. The next biggest sector is basic materials, 19.3%, includes the big miners. Imagine if they'd done well, Michael. Wow, we'd be screaming if that was the case.
This is all good news for shareholders overall, Sean, but can it keep going? That's the big question, right?
Oh, maybe not. Wall Street and lower taxes under Donald Trump are certainly helping confidence, as are hopes of rate cuts locally, though they took a bit of a blow yesterday. The Reserve Bank board minutes were released. They show that the central bank is still worried that core inflation is too high, just proving very difficult to get to that 2 to 3% target band. The minutes showed that the board looked at cutting rates, also looked at keeping them at this level for quite a while. The Reserve Bank wants to see at least 2 successive quarters of good inflation results. If that's the case, it pushes out a cut probably to May next year at the earliest, Michael.
All right, moving on to story number 2 now. And Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said all Chinese tariffs and other restrictions on $22 billion worth of Australian goods will be removed after he met with President Xi Jinping at the G20 conference in Brazil.
The PM said that relations had improved without compromising any of Australia's national interest. A very fine line, because at the meeting of the two leaders, Mr. Xi discussed Australia providing greater foreign investment access to Chinese interests. Now, the tariffs and restrictions imposed under the Prime Minister Scott Morrison period, or in the Prime Minister Scott Morrison period, were in part because of Australia's safeguard around its sovereignty and security via foreign investment restrictions. Think Huawei in that one. That's what it appears Xi is asking Albanese to water down. In short, China will buy more Australian stuff if Chinese enterprises are allowed to invest in Australia. Definitely a fine line for the PM.
Yeah, indeed it is. Story number 3, super fund giant HESTA will be forced to compensate more than 120,000 members that had their retirement savings in part stranded in unlisted property assets whose values absolutely tumbled in the early days of COVID-19.
APRA said HESTA's procedures for revaluing assets were deficient, and in one case, a member lost $17,000 in a week because the super fund didn't act in a timely manner. Now, APRA wants funds to revalue, that's up or down, unlisted assets quickly, so people know what their portfolio is worth, not just in property, but private credit, private equity, infrastructure. If you buy an ASX-listed stock, you know immediately what it's worth. You don't always in this unlisted asset area. Revaluing is particularly important because super funds collectively own about $650 billion in unlisted assets. In this case, HESTA adjusted down some investment options, not others. So if a member shifted from one to the other, they could have lost money on the spot. That's exactly what happened to the member who lost $17,000.
Story number 4, hardware retailer Bunnings has been found to have invaded the privacy of what is estimated to be hundreds of thousands of customers through the use of intrusive facial recognition cameras at 63 stores across Victoria and New South Wales.
An investigation by the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner found Bunnings had disproportionately collected sensitive information from its customers through the use of those cameras. According to a story in The Australian, Privacy Commissioner Carly Kind said the deployment of facial recognition technology was most disproportionately interfering with the privacy of everyone who entered its stores. Bunnings defended its actions. Managing Director Mike Schneider claimed facial recognition technology was only used to protect its team and other customers from violent, aggressive behaviour. He claimed that Bunnings had processed and deleted the majority of data collected from facial recognition cameras in 0.00417 seconds.
Last one, story number 5, a very serious one on the global front. Sean, Germany and Finland say they are deeply concerned about a severed undersea communications cable between the two countries, saying it raises suspicions of possible Russian sabotage.
The 1,200-kilometre fibre optic cable was cut on Monday morning. It lay on the Baltic Sea, close to Sweden. Now, a Swedish telco said a communication cable between Sweden and Lithuania had also been damaged over the past week. NATO nations are on edge around infrastructure in the Baltic Sea ever since the still unexplained explosions of the Nord Stream gas pipeline between Russia and Germany in 2022. German and Finnish foreign ministers said security was under threat, not only from Russia, but other malicious actors.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Wednesday, the 20th of November, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.